So the next in the Council of Traditions is the Euthanatos, or the Chakravanti, or a number of other names. And they are the masters of entropy magic. Now, we're going to start with entropy magic before we get on to the Euthanatos. Entropy magic it's probably one of the least understood in Mage, because it is not just death magic. It is also considered fate or fortune magic. Since death is the fate of all living things, entropy magic is often seen as fate magic. It can twist fate, turn luck, things like that. You need other spheres quite often in order to use entropy magic properly. If you want to cause a tire to dry rot and blow out, giving a person a flat, you're also going to need matter magic. If you want a fire to burn down and dwindle, extinguishing itself, you're going to need forces magic. If you want a person to suffer, let's say, a wound in fitting with something they are doing, you're often going to need body life magic. But entropy magic can be used in and on its own to influence turns of fate, to get a sense of what way a coin will flip, what card is coming up, things such as that. It is the control of chance and happenstance as well as death magic. It can be a pain in the neck to adjudicate. But it also can be some of the most interesting, because one of the things that happens, and we'll get into this more when we talk about resonances, is entropy magic has its own taint called entropic. But there is also a specific taint when you meddle too much with death magic, specifically the death of living things. It's called Jhor, Jhor. And it literally is a type of spiritual corruption because you are ending life forcibly. This isn't just murdering with a gun or whatnot. This is utilizing the powers of fate to end a life prematurely. The tradition that champions that is the Euthanatos. There's a number of other names for them because they're a disparate of traditions that have come together. One of my favorite is named the Chakravanti, because it's a little less Greek and a little more Hindi. The Euthanatos as a whole are often viewed askance, especially by the Akashic Brotherhood, which we'll get to when we get to mind magic, as a death cult. They're not really. As a matter of fact, in the lore, they watch out for too much predisposition towards death. The idea of the Euthanatos, the driving philosophy behind it all, is they are trying to usher in the best life for the world. And that includes ushering in people to their best life. One of the things they're quite often seen as is as a heavy-handed judge, jury, and executioner. They will measure out the thread of your life and see what you've done, and then set out to send you back to the wheel of reincarnation, hopefully to have learned from this and become better in the next life. It's a very grim tradition. The Euthanatos, or Euthanatoi is the correct plural, are, well, they get into a lot of trouble. They have a long-standing feud with the Akashic Brotherhood, which we will get into, which are martial artists who champion the sphere of mind, but also this idea of living your best life, coming into focus, not trying to escape the current life you're in to move to another one that is hopefully better. it's a serious clash of personalities. That's not to say that they don't work together, but they have a fundamental difference of opinion on it. Also, there have been a lot of clashes over the years between the Euthanatoi and the Akashics, mostly because they generally come from about the same region in the world, and a number of real-world political disputes, not magical world political disputes, have bled into the magical world and created magical world disputes. It is a great example of as above, so below, and as below, so above, which is a fundamental magical principle for anybody that knows anything about what's largely considered reciprocity. Because of this, playing a Euthanatos can be difficult. Your struggles, like the virtual adept struggling between what is real and what is imagined, for the Euthanatos, it is a struggle against the pull of entropy, against the pull of corruption to become judge, jury, and executioner unfairly, to find yourself tainted and twisted by the dark powers you claim to control. It is quite easy for Euthanatos mages to become isolationist, separated from those around them. They read auras, see fates, and it scares them. They see parts of the people they feel like they should love and care about, and it disturbs them what they see. There's a lot of pitfalls to it, but there can be a lot of rewards to playing a Euthanatos mage, not the least of which is you always manage to have one more bullet in your gun. The knife manages to hit just right. Or even something as simple as there always seems to be a taxi cab coming by when you need it. So, when you take up the mantle of mage and set about changing the world, will you take on the tradition of the Euthanatoi? Will you mold the forces of fate and entropy to try to make the world a greater, better place?